And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, my futures family. It's time for the market reflection here on Tuesday, April the 18th. Hope you had a good trading day. It was a tough trading day, I thought. My name's John Hoagland. Again, thanks for trusting me with your time. The day's over. We can relax a little bit now. Interesting trading day, aren't they all? It looks like the equities actually eked out a little bit of a break here before the close here. I was looking at it just before the close. It looked like the S&Ps were going to close up 3 points, NASDAQ up 5 points, the Dow down 10 ticks. Looks a little bit lower than that now after the close here, but the markets really struggled today, I thought. We looked at the S&Ps, we looked at the late spike yesterday, and we did actually end up accepting higher pricing, but nowhere near the amount of aggression that I was hoping for in the equity markets to the upside here this morning. Pretty deep pullback. The S&Ps traded back to a little anomaly in the profile. We're going to see that here in just a couple of minutes. And it was really kind of my main focus today was on the equities. We did see the gold come up a little bit off the recent low. The euro holding its line. The 10-year holding support at the weekly kickoff low. We'll see all this shortly. One of the kind of bigger stories, I think, was crude today, up 3 cents by the end of the session. So, of course, we are waiting for new information from the API this afternoon, the EIA tomorrow, and then all of that noise. We are waiting for Netflix to come out with their earnings. They did beat on earnings per share, but missed on revenue. A little bit of a miss on revenue. We'll have to see how that is treated by traders here after the close. Again, we'll probably see if there's any reaction on the NASDAQ here as we get into and through the market reflection. A tough day in Mako money. That's okay. I trimmed our losses just a little bit. I ended up having an okay day, not the day I was hoping for, but it did manage to eke out a small profit today, so I'm going to have to be happy with that. I don't think that the markets, at least the market I was looking at, the S&Ps, offered great opportunities. The market just rotated the better part of the day. So, and again, we'll check that out on the charts. We'll see what that all looks like for tomorrow. As far as talking Feds today, we did have a couple of them. Not very chatty today. We had Bostic talk earlier saying his baseline is to keep rates unchanged after the next rate hike. Bullard says he sees adequately restrictive policy rate at 5.5 to 5.75%. I think that's pretty much a consensus. Bowman didn't make any comments about Fed policy today, but spoke more about the banking situation. And she says they're keeping an eye out for any signs of additional bank stress. And the Bank of America CEO, Moynihan, says he's optimistic and says the banking system is now much more stable. So good news as far as all that is concerned. Didn't really drive markets that much. Little bit concerned about how good the upside auction is doing in the S&Ps. And I think this morning I gave it I didn't really give it a grade. I think it was probably about a C. Just looking at my notes from this morning, but so, well, yeah, I mean, that's it. What do we have as far as economic numbers tomorrow? Tomorrow we have EIA petroleum status report, really, and the Beige Book. The Beige Book is my notification that we are officially 2 weeks from the FOMC meeting. We do have a couple of talking Feds late in the day yesterday. Goolsbee speaks at 4:30. Williams speaks at 6 p.m. Central. Those are the only ones I see on this schedule here. Doesn't mean they can't pop up at any time and on other schedules. As far as earnings, again, we just had Netflix come out, Intuitive Surgery, Interactive Brokers, missing on earnings per share, but beating on revenues. United Airlines Holdings beating on earnings per share, missing on revenues. Tomorrow we're looking at Abbott Labs, Morgan Stanley, U.S. Bancorp, Travelers, NASDAQ Inc. tomorrow. And then at the end of the day, we're looking for Tesla, IBM. So we're getting into some of the bigger companies here. Discover tomorrow, Equifax tomorrow. So some of your bigger companies, we are starting to get into the teeth of the earnings season. And here we are. Make sure, as I always ask, that you hit the lucky like button, share. Comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome here on the Market Reflection. Again, I hope you had a good day. Vince, it is good to see you. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to you much. Looking forward to getting caught up. Phil, always good to see you. Grounds Hero, green today. Good job. Haggle Matters, Marco, decent trading day. Bulls ran out of steam. I couldn't believe that they didn't get a better pop at the end of the close today with the amount of negative delta we had in the market. We'll see that on the charts again. Afternoon, George Lacey, the center of the universe, is chilling nicely. I don't even think she's in the room right now. I think she's laying by the front door waiting for her favorite person in the whole world, my son, to come home. He usually comes home about half an hour from now. So, and her stomach is a perfect clock. She knows when dinner time is getting close and that Luke should be home soon. Good morning, good afternoon, Leslie, Bill Phillips, Kirk. I need to say it in her voice. I don't think that I can, Kirk. I don't think that I can. I'm kind of stuck in the lower register. Didn't have to carry the mail today, Brett. Good. So I got to trade your home desk. Had my biggest day that counts. Nice. Hit your personal high, $3,300. Excellent. It's my pleasure, Brett. If I made a difference, that makes me happy. But remember, it's all you, my man. That is all you. ODTE starting to stop working. Will, decent trading day, but took a bad trade at the end to finish 759 up. I would say that is a good trading day, Will. That's just good, man. Zach, in coaching tomorrow, can we talk about seeing market structure in early session? Of course, Zach, and it's something that was very important to be thinking about today. We'll take a look at what happened today and remind me in group coaching that you would like to have a chat about that. And good evening to you, Anissa. So in the S&Ps, I think what was more important early in the session was the fact that we had a lot of overnight longs. So we'll take a look at that in the charts here. I just want to make sure I've got all the other business taken care of. So tomorrow, group coaching at 12:30, make Hogue Money at 2. Tomorrow is, what day is today? Wednesday. Today is Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, that's the way it goes on Wednesdays. All right, and then a reflection at the end of the day. Yes, Zach, don't forget to remind me. Sometimes be honest with you, I've killed a lot of brain cells. Sometimes I forget about those things. So, Will, any observations about the 259.30 dip? Delta in the S today, absolutely haggle matter, something I'm planning on checking out. Let's do that right now. Let's do this while all this is nice and fresh. So here's the daily, right? Yesterday, we had an inside day with a loss in open interest. Let me make sure that this is correct. Oh no, these are the wrong sheets here. Hang on. Okay. All right. So yesterday we added an additional, 15,000 in open interest yesterday on what we're viewing as an up day. I mean, it ended up closing 13 points higher, right? So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a timid upside continuation that has begun now. Volume was low yesterday. Volume a little bit better than that today. What I'm going to be looking for is I want to see, with overlapping to higher range and outright higher value, an increase in open interest. And I'll show you why. So here is, okay, so here's today. We knew we had a late spike yesterday. We opened above the late spike. We can then expect price, we can then expect price to accept price at higher pricing, value higher. We achieved that today. We had a lot of longs in this market when this market opened. We did not leave the opening range at the high of the session. We took out both sides of it, but as soon as these overnight longs started to get the idea that they were not going to be seeing the continuation of the upside, they bailed. They bring price back to basically where the market opened in the overnight session, which is approximately settlement. So the market comes back down to settlement. Now I'm, on the gap close, I'm looking for a potential long. That's where the overnight inventory really kind of had reconciled itself. The base of the late spike, also a place where I will look for an entry. So if you're looking for longs, sometimes we do look for longs in all the wrong places. It wasn't until we got all the way down here to this little anomaly right here that the market just had to go down and reach down to and stop at on the nose on the way down. Okay, that's all well and good. Here's our late spike. We opened above it. We actually ended up showing and proving over time that the market was willing to accept higher pricing. It didn't give us very good trade locations at the base of the late spike, the high of the late spike, or even where the late spike began, because the market decided it was going to come down here and check this little anomaly. Anything that sticks out in the profile that doesn't seem to fit, anything that isn't smooth, could be considered an anomaly. And this was certainly one that was seeked out today visually for a potential target or even an entry. Back to the 30-minute chart. We see that the market opened and price started driving pretty quickly to the downside. The initial move in Delta decreasing in value here down to about, let's call it minus 10,000, was overnight inventory just hitting bids to try and get out. The decrease in value or the increase in negativity that occurred and was held through the rest of the session may have been indicating something else. We see once we get to the low here, we're still holding Delta negative, but price seems to be trying to push to the upside. We've put in higher lows overall. We started putting in higher highs overall, while our sellers remain aggressive to the short side. If we added a whole bunch of open interest today, I'm looking at this as a delta divergence in the fact that we may have seen some longer, stronger participants accumulating longs. That's if we build open interest. If we lose open interest, I think that's the opposite. I think that's the longer, stronger traders adjusting inventory away from shorts. But I'm feeling relatively confident, and this is, of course, hypothesis, conjecture, speculation, whatever you want to call it. Nobody knows for sure who the participants were today, but just because the delta got so deep and stayed so deep and price couldn't continue the move to the downside indicates to me the potential presence of another party in the marketplace, the other time frame, the longer time frame, the deep pockets. So if we added a whole bunch of open interest on a higher overlapping to higher range, flat out higher value, then our late spike gave us the signal it was supposed to. Value was accepted, price was accepted at a higher level today based on value. The hard part was, where was the good entry? Where was the right entry? That was the hard part for us today. So the pullback, the end of the day, just maybe Netflix, maybe some other earnings that came out. Somebody just knee jerked. Now, we took out, I think at our deepest here, we were negative 24,000 in negative delta when we put in the low. We finished the day what looks to be right now at about 15,000. So about 10,000 in open interest really kind of evaporated as some of those shorts decided to get out. We didn't get the deeper or higher push that I was hoping for at the end of the day. However, we didn't close necessarily bad. We actually closed the day a little bit higher. So tomorrow, we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what the market is telling us. And we'll see what kind of levels we can kind of look for tomorrow. Some days when there's a late spike, the market lays out the opportunity for you. Some days when the market has a late spike, too many longs, market comes back deeper than you think it's going to. It usually will. This is never easy. And again, everything we do is hypothesis and working on keeping the probabilities on our side. With the delta that deep, with the market continuing to push higher, I was relatively confident we weren't going to be putting in a new low. I was relatively confident we weren't going to be putting in a new high as well, but I was looking for a much bigger pullback because of the position of the direct competitors, the other pea shooter, short time frame, weaker hands traders being short throughout the entire session. So we did not get that pullback. Got to remember it's Tuesday. A lot of these weaker hands are holding positions. They'll be flat by Friday, I can tell you that. Look at crude oil seeming to be looking for new information. Just still range bound. Here's the 30. 1, 2, 3 points of contact, breakout to the downside, a return to the scene of the crime or the trend line, and right back down, basically closing flat. We didn't even have to do this in crude today. What kind of a day was it in TPO? Normal variation, neither of the extremes of the initial balance remained at either side. An attempt at a late spike which fizzled. Just normal variation, neutral day. Now, how about our NASDAQ? NASDAQ is a different market. Put in a higher, overlapping to higher range. Still more range bound than the S&Ps. We're still very price-wise, very centrally located in the center of value, if you will. Here's the 30. Looking higher, can't take out the overnight high. That's a good opportunity for us, bringing price right back to where the market opened last night, right here in the first hour of trade, and then balancing. Only thing we did today was see our overnight inventory too long and our overnight inventory get out. The rest of this, minutia. Not much going on there. All right. So what I do want to try and see if we can do this. As much of this this chart as we can get on here, I want to try and see something here. Come on now. Where did we finish the day? Overall, all this information, value high, value low, point of control. Where do we finish? Basically point of control. We're in a very comfortable level here in the NASDAQ. Why won't this go? There we go. Starting to kind of fill out up here a little bit, maybe a little bit more time up here, and this will be a nice even bell curve, and we can move to different areas. Here's the TPO chart for today. Long liquidation is what this looks like, but because it's a B shape, but we're going to have to see what this looks like. Did we do this? No. Look at this. We extended the range to the downside in the NASDAQ. We did not in the S&Ps at this time. Range bound, very prominent points of control here. Very wide profile. It's like, what, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All but one 30-minute period traded in this range. This market is going to be seeking new levels to facilitate trade, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Can this overnight schmutz be considered excess on a weekly candle? Anything on a weekly candle that's excess isn't schmutz. Good word. Gold. We held up. Range bound. We broke out. We did not bring open interest yesterday. So that break yesterday, hollow. Makes sense to me that we're trying to recover to the upside market state. Here's the 30. Looked point of control. Overnight high from the other day. Short time frame levels seem to be holding. Here's the profile for today. IB extreme? No, neither. I'll look lower, rejected, just to get down to that point of control. It's amazing how visual markets are. The market turns and heads hide the other way. I'm hoping that we're going to see an increase in open interest today on an up day after losing open interest on a breakout to the downside day. Yikes. Here's the euro holding the line still. Here's the 30. range bound, in range, above value, holding that line. We looked at possible repair today. It didn't repair either points of control in the previous days. Just kind of held out and repaired this area. Gotta watch the dollar. No IB high. Very small range. Almost a non-trend day. Just a kind of flopping around. Normal variation. Centered profile. Centered TPO. Point of control. Neutral. What about the 10-year? Thought about keeping an eye on an opportunity in the 10-year. Doesn't look like we had much range. Here's the 30. Weekly kickoff low. Just yesterday's range is, in all seriousness, was the high and the low today. Just back and forth between those. Bit of a chop fest. Is there anything that the profile tells us? Low excess high, low excess low, inside, no change in value. Man, oh man. Actually, a pretty tradable day if you just focused on the extremes from yesterday's range. And that gas opened basically above weekly kickoff high and nested there all day long. Look at this. So, we opened below it, we traded to it, and then just decided to nest up here. Is that acceptance of higher pricing? TPO chart. Double distribution trend day. No excess high. No gap close. Let's see if it continues this push to the upside tomorrow. Let's see. All right. So I really haven't looked all that much at this day in history, but 1906, the Great San Francisco earthquake was on April 18th. What a horrible day, huh? 2012, Dick Clark of American Bandstand and New Year's Rockin' Eve passed away on this day. What about in music? Let's see. In 2015, Green Day was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was always a fan of their music. Huh. This is interesting. 1985, Wham! Became the first ever Western pop act to have an album released in China. Anything about Johnny Cash today in 1970? Johnny Cash was number one on the country album chart with Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. His 33rd album release. Birthdays. Paul Rothchild, a producer who worked with The Doors, Janis Joplin, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young. It's his birthday today. He's long since passed. I don't even see any names I know there. I must be getting old. All right. So tomorrow, Wednesday, I am going to get some rest tonight. I'm going to be ready for tomorrow, anything that happens. It almost starting to feel like these markets are already in the mode to wait for the next FOMC meeting. That's 2 weeks. I'm sure there will be things going on in the markets other than just waiting for the FOMC meetings. So join me tomorrow, 7:45, same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll see what's going on with our markets and the show as the market turns. Have a good night. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Say a prayer for peace. God knows we need prayers for peace. Blessings and have a good night.